All right, welcome back to Finger Guns with Tony, Dave, and James. This is our second episode, and I'm one of your fearless co-hosts, Dave Baldwin, and I'm sitting here with
Tony Baldwin
and
James Amatuzio.
all right, and we're here to talk about movies, and maybe a couple more hints about Finger Guns After Dark, which we keep getting some comments about.
Yeah, we still gotta figure out what Finger Guns After Dark is gonna be, but I'm not sure yet.
It's gonna be good.
Oh yeah,
Whatever it is, it's gonna be good.
keep hearing about it. So secret, I don't even know what it is. Yeah, so let's.
How we doing tonight?
Yeah, how are we doing?
significantly less tired than I was when we recorded the first episode.
Excellent.
Yes.
Good. So you're not gonna fall asleep halfway through?
I'm not going to fall asleep halfway through. I'm wide awake. I have my Welch's. This episode
Nice.
is sponsored by Welch's, but it's actually
It is not.
It's not. It's not sponsored
It's
by
not. Welch's, if you're listening, you may sponsor us. But
Please, Welch's. You were the cornerstone of my college days. I owe a lot to you. Please sponsor our show.
So
you're the only fruit snack that gets us through TIFF.
Yes. So you're awake. You're fully awake right now.
Fully awake.
Okay. So you're not gonna say any goofy shit about Elliot Page and Whip It, right? No Oscar buzz.
Of course. Still looking
No,
for
he's
that.
saving that for the Oscars episode.
Saving that for the Oscars. But we need to have that double bill. Whip It and Rollerball.
Oh God.
Please, guys, we need this.
As long as it's not the LL Cool J one.
It's definitely the LL Cool J.
I'm not watching Chris Klein.
Come on.
Piss
It has
off.
standards.
Piss off.
Who's the director? John McTiernan, the guy who did.
Was it John McTiernan?
It's got to be.
Let's find out.
Let's
Keep
find
talking.
out.
Keep talking.
It's got to be.
It's gotta be.
It's got to be.
You're talking.
The guy-
You said
the
the guy
guy-
that did
the
the
guy
Hunt for
that-
Red October.
The Hunt for Red October,
Die
Die
Hard.
Hard, Last Action Hero.
The original film was done by Norman Jewison, and the remake, which also features Rebecca Romaine, was directed by John McTiernan.
Oh,
Don
Oh,
Shaw.
right. I
Ooh,
got it
Jean
right.
Reno's in this.
Jean Reno.
It doesn't matter. I'm not watching it.
I also, while we have the time, I need to make a correction to last episode.
Yeah.
I went on a brief tangent on Dylan O'Brien in the film
Right.
in Scream.
but it is actually Dylan Minette
Minette.
of 13 Reasons Why fame.
That's
Yes.
correct.
Yes, I am so sorry, Dylan O'Brien. You are off the hook for now.
For now.
Just for now.
Just
For now.
until we revisit
Yeah.
American Assassin or
I'd prefer Love and Monsters. I've been
Love and
putting
Monsters.
that one off.
Love and Monsters. Let's do it.
Yeah,
Let's
let's
do
do
it.
Love and Monsters.
Or
I
Maze
watched
Runner.
it.
Maze Runner could be another one.
We could just watch all three.
All three, triple bill. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah. Is Love and Monsters considered young adult?
I haven't seen it. I wouldn't know.
All right. Well, we're gonna find out.
We're gonna find out. So stay tuned for that.
Yeah. How are you doing, Dave?
I am surviving. I am going to be starting South by Southwest in another day or so. I've already watched a couple movies.
Nice.
I have at least one reco. The other two, not so much. But I will talk more about them when I'm allowed to.
Right. Sure.
What are you looking forward to?
There's a Tony Hawk documentary, which should be good. There's another one called The Cow with Winona Ryder.
Nice.
That I'm looking forward to. There's a movie called Bitch Ass, which
Bitch
sounds.
All right.
All right.
I don't know. I don't know what it's about. It's just I'm
Let's
good with
do
that.
it.
I'm good with that title.
Absolutely.
I'm
Let's
good
do
with that
it.
title. And then there's another one with Aubrey Plaza, which is called
Spin Me Round.
Spin Me Round. That's what I'm excited for. And they're showing Cha Cha Real Smooth again, and Cha Cha Real Smooth is my favorite of the year. I've already seen it twice, so I'm excited for number 3. My
Nice.
girl DJ.
You got this.
Dakota Johnson.
Nice. Nice. I'm doing well.
I was gonna ask you how
you
you're
were
doing.
literally just about to ask you. Come on. We're going around the table.
You can just go fuck yourself. Who cares? Who cares how Jimmy's doing?
You know what? I'm at.
All right.
Fuck me.
I'm doing fine.
Good.
I'm not as tired as I was last time either.
Terrific.
I was at a concert last night for the first time.
Oh, how
it
was
exciting to be around people again.
Yeah, it wasn't terrifying.
Not really. Mainly because my section was relatively empty.
Oh,
So
good. That's good.
it was like myself, Emily, my wife, was beside me, and then like to my left was 6 empty seats.
Oh, I'd be okay with that.
Fantastic.
Magical.
Yeah, that would be
That's
magical.
awesome.
And like our section kept emptying out too. I guess because like we were at the back, but like whatever. Like people just kept leaving, and I was like, oh, all right. It just got more and more empty. So
Cool. I'm going in August to see Bill Burr. Hopefully, so I'm looking for. Hopefully everything will be a little even better by then.
Right.
So-
I have faith. It should be.
It better be.
So
Better be.
let's get right into it. This is
All
finger
right.
guns.
This is finger guns.
Finger gun.
So let's dive right into segment 1. You know, it's our standard. We got our best man worst. It's been a couple weeks since we last recorded, so I know, Dave, you've been watching some stuff you can't talk about, but what can you talk about that you've seen?
All right. So I'm gonna go with the best one I've seen since the last time we talked. Actually, was the first Shrek. My son has really gotten into Shrek. So we've watched the 4 of them multiple times in pieces.
Nice.
He pointed at Shrek at one point and said, "Daddy," so that makes me feel great. But I wasn't a big fan of Shrek back in the day. I just didn't. It wasn't my bag. I liked Shrek 2 a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
But when I rewatched it now, it's simple, it's classic, it's quick, it's hilarious.
Gets in and gets out.
It gets in and gets out. Like I was like, oh, I thought there was more time between these things. No, it gets in, gets out, and it's end. It's done.
Here's the thing that I've always wanted to know. Did you have Shrek, the original Shrek, the first Shrek on VHS?
No, we had the 2-disc DVD.
You had the 2-disc DVD. I had the VHS copy of it because my parents were slow adopters of DVD.
Oof.
To this day, it's always bugged me, but the VHS came in its usual VHS sleeve.
Was it a sleeve or one of those clamshell things?
In the sleeve. It was a sleeve.
Okay.
But the way that they did the sleeve is they made the VHS case, the sleeve holding the tape, bigger than it needed to be, and put a rectangular cardboard tube down the side. So like the VHS would sit sort of off to the side, and like the VHS sleeve was just bigger, and I've never understood why.
That seems weird.
It's the weird, like, it doesn't fit in my shelf collection properly. It doesn't look right. It's just bigger than everything else, and I can't understand why. There was nothing special about the packaging that needed a huge VHS case. So I don't understand the creative decision other than to make it stand out on your shelf.
That's weird.
And, like, frustrate you when you tried to fit it in with the other VHSs that you own on standard size shelves, and it was, like, slightly taller and wider.
Were there fancy VHS cases?
No.
Like, I know there were fancy, like, box sets type thing,
Yeah.
but it was still the regular VHS. The one that's coming to my mind, there was a movie called The Indian in the Cupboard.
Yeah.
I don't remember much about it, but I remember the clamshell case. You could flip the art around, and it would look like a cupboard. And the case had like a little keyhole, and it came with the key, and it came with the Indian, and
Native American, please.
it came with the titular alien or fuck
Wow.
Amazing.
The title of the movie was The Indian in the Cupboard. It came with the title character and the key.
What nationality?
To open up-
Was
to
It
open
was
up
a
the
Native
cupboard.
American.
That's bad.
Or indigenous.
Native American in the cupboard.
Indigenous American.
American.
Okay? I was just quoting what the movie was called. You guys are dicks. All right.
You're part of the problem.
Anyway, your man.
apparently. My mat was Mars Attacks by Tim Burton.
Sure.
Right on.
I have not. I swear to God, I've never seen it, beginning to end, in one sitting. I've seen chunks of it.
Interesting.
'Cause when I was watching it, I was like, "Oh yeah, I remember this. Oh yeah, I know what's coming," but I'd never seen it all
Right.
in one shot, and there were definitely chunks of it that I never saw.
Right.
So I'm watching it, and I watched it. I started at like 12:30 at night because I was folding clothes, and I was
Sure.
like, "Oh, I'll just watch a little bit, and then I'll go to bed." And by the time I got around to the point where I was like, "Okay, I'm feeling a little tired. I'm gonna go to bed. I want to see how much is left." There was 10 minutes left. So I was
Right.
definitely in it to win it,
Yeah.
but it just, like, you could tell it came out right after Independence Day, because
Sure.
there's a lot of things that feel very Independence Day-ish. and I don't think everybody's in on the joke. Because some people are definitely more serious than others, and others are playing it a little more funny. And then there's other, like, some people are just kind of there. Like Danny DeVito's in like a minute and a half of the movie. Like it's the visual effects look crappy on purpose, but like when they're actually doing makeup stuff, it looks great.
Oh, the makeup stuff's incredible.
It looks great. There's a part where Lisa Marie, they like rip part of her face off, and it looks awesome.
Nice.
So I'm like, I get why you wanted the shtick of doing crappy effects, but like, why didn't you just try to keep up with the makeup?
Right.
Come on.
Like, if you were already there and it was already looking that good, why not just keep going?
Exactly. But it felt choppy, and I've read that they had to chop it up, and it was rushed and stuff. So none of it surprises me.
Yeah.
None of it surprises me. But
It's still a
worth
decent
watching.
movie for sure.
It would be a meh, but it was worth watching.
As long as you got a meh out of it.
I got a meh out of it. And then the worst one, I would say, is a little gem that came out earlier this year called The 355. Have either of you had the misfortune of seeing that film?
Okay, so when I went and saw House of Gucci in theaters, the trailer before it was for the 355.
Oof.
And it was the 2.5 to 3 minute version.
Oh.
And I looked over at my wife and I was just like, I think we've seen the whole movie. And she's like, yeah, I don't know what else there is to see. Like, it's all here. It was so long, and like the trailer just kept going. So
That's fair.
I haven't felt the need to watch it because I feel like I know exactly what happens.
I'm a big Jessica Chastain fan.
Sure.
And I'll forgive her for this one, just like I forgive her for a lot of movies she does. But there's just, it has so many good intentions. It has great actors in it, and most of them are trying their best, but it's a mess. And I feel like I could sum it up with what's wrong with it, because at the beginning there's a scene they're supposed to do a drop. They're supposed to give money to get this hard drive thing that can blow up plane. I don't fucking know. Anyways, someone else steals the bag. It's a backpack, and then it's Diane Kruger. She steals the backpack, and then she goes. It's a running foot chase through whatever city they're in. I want to say it's Paris.
Sure.
And she one straps it.
All right.
Which is okay. Like, I one strap it. I don't always two strap it. But if I'm in a foot chase, which becomes a motorcycle chase, which comes back into a foot chase, which ends up in a train station, I'm going to two strap it.
You got to two strap it.
And for some reason, the bag just keeps flopping around everywhere.
Who would have thought?
It just kind of it felt like the thesis of the movie, that it was just like all the good intentions, and it just fell apart.
Right.
And like it also has like the worst friggin' villain reveal. I don't care, guys. Sebastian Stan is the big bad.
Ooh,
he's part of this big bad. But at the beginning he ends up being a double agent. But at the beginning,
spoiler alert, everybody.
I don't care. This one I don't care. This one I don't care about.
I apologize for all our listeners who wanted
355
to watch
stands
the 355.
They're on the mission, and then he ends up face to face with the guy, the bigger bad,
right?
And it cuts away, and then they come back and they're like, "Oh yeah, he died. Where's the body?
Nah.
Where's Chekhov's body? Where's Chekhov's body?" And then he shows up later, and it's like this big. I'm like, well, you didn't show his fucking body. Guys, clearly, he's still alive.
At this point, you just apply the Scream rules. You clip him in the head and show it.
Yeah, they did other movies, like they would have shown a body, or they would have been like, here's his remains, or we found his gun, we found there's his shoe type thing. He blew up, like something, not just an aside. Oh yeah, he died. And she's supposed to like him, and I was like, your buddy just died. This is again with Scream. Your buddy just died, and you're not upset, and you're not looking for him. What the fuck are you doing? And she just banged him too. Come on. If my buddy died and I just banged him, I'd want to see a fucking body.
The dick just wasn't that good.
Apparently it wasn't. Apparently he didn't have that Pam and Tommy dick.
Wow. Not everybody can have a dick voiced by Jason Mantzoukas.
That's true. It's true.
Oh, spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. I'm apologizing again to all our listeners.
Stop apologizing. We need need to actually hit the spoiler bell,
That spoiler alert was only for Tony, since I think he's still behind.
I'm waiting for my wife. Okay.
Okay, well, stop waiting for the wife.
We have Squid Games. We have Euphoria.
Oh my god!
I'm sorry.
Just fucking watch Pam and Tommy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just watch it.
Fantastic.
Tony, your best.
My best. I really wanted to talk about Titan because Titan is always the best on anybody's list. And if it's not, you don't deserve to be in this conversation. But I feel like I want to do an episode or something like an aside to Titan down the line.
Sure.
So for my best, I'm going to go with this little Canadian film. It's called Scarborough.
Oh, nice.
Lovely.
I don't really know what to say because I was floored by this movie.
Okay.
I don't remember the last time I was ever wrong about something.
Oh.
I had the opportunity to see this at TIFF. I saw the runtime. The runtime is about 2 hours and a bit. And you know me at TIFF, I love to cram as many movies as possible. And if it's over 2 hours, buddy, we ain't seeing it.
Yeah.
That's fair.
But yeah,
And I kept telling you it was a big deal and that we should watch it. And you're like,
nah, I didn't want to do it. But I got the opportunity to watch it, and holy shit.
Yeah.
It was absolutely incredible. The little boy in it, his name is Liam Diaz. He is a hell of an actor. Like a hell of an actor. It is his first credited role. He's nominated for a Canadian Screen Award.
Wow.
I'm hoping, I've got my fingers crossed for him. He is phenomenal in it. All the kids are phenomenal in it. It is definitely a must see in my opinion.
Nice.
Seek it out immediately.
All right.
it's in theaters right now.
It's in theaters right
Yes.
now. Please go out and support Canadian film.
Yes. 100%. Please do. The theaters need you.
Definitely. For my meh,
Yeah.
I'm going to go with a little film called A Million Ways to Die in the West. The Seth MacFarlane picture.
Oh, yeah. I haven't seen that in years.
Right. I was
I
cruising.
saw that theatrically.
So did I.
We saw that together, actually. Yeah.
Ooh.
I was cruising Netflix. I saw that it was leaving in April. I was like, oh, I haven't seen this in a while. I was having a bad day. I need a couple
Sure.
cheap laughs. You know, Seth MacFarlane's always good for the toilet humor.
Always.
Right?
Correct.
And yeah, it did not disappoint me. It was a meh, though. The Mila Kunis bit, when he's with the indigenous Americans,
Sure.
when they tell him he'll be fine and everything, he's like, oh, Mila Kunis, and the subtitle says like, fine. Still slays me. And
no.
You said you have a problem with me, and that's like,
he's just saying Mila Kunis. That's all he's saying.
Sure.
That's all. Come
right.
on now.
All right.
Anyways,
All good.
That's right up there with your blood sport as a meh.
last thing I want to say about A Million Ways to Die in the West, the song in it, the mustache song,
Yes.
where they're all dancing and everything, that has now made it into my rotation on Spotify because it's
Hey.
a hell of a track.
Hey now.
It's on the most liked, the most rotated.
Most rotated,
Most
for
played.
sure.
I
For
literally remember nothing about this.
It's
movie.
probably for the best that you don't remember.
Except Mr. Belding's in it, right?
No, he is not.
I thought he was.
Mr. Belding is not in it.
Who's the bigger guy who shows up? Is it not Mr. Belding?
It's Liam Neeson.
No. Liam Neeson's like the main villain. I'm pretty sure Mr. Belding shows up. Mr. Belding from fucking Saved by the Bell.
Yes, I'm well aware of who the character is.
Doesn't he show up at some point?
I have no idea.
Okay, well, you tell me about the worst and I'm going to look.
All right, fantastic. The worst of this, and I have a movie that is pretty bad, but I need to talk about this other movie.
Okay.
It is called Fast 9.
Yes.
F9.
Sorry,
It's F9.
the saga.
The Fast Saga.
Let me tell you boys something.
Yep.
Just because, and I heard this from somebody, I'm taking it from somebody else.
Sure.
Just because you could do it doesn't mean that you have to do it.
Yep.
And special shout out to that person that gave it to me. You know who you are.
Cute.
Can we pause for a second?
Yes, absolutely.
Mr. Belding is, in fact, in A Million Ways to Die in the
Who
West.
is he?
It says he is the snake oil salesman.
Snake oil salesman. I do not remember him, but he was probably the guy who was set on fire at the fair.
That's who it is.
Exactly.
Gilbert Godfrey's in this movie?
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
a lot
man.
of random people in that movie.
What the fuck?
now you're throwing it on the watch list.
Now you're throwing it on the watch list. You have until April 5th to see that before it leaves Netflix forever.
Forever. Gone.
Father, Son, Holy Spirit.
Back to F9.
Yeah.
This movie was physically painful to
Yep.
sit through.
Yes, sir.
I cannot believe that I almost paid money to see this. I'm
You
glad
sure
I
did.
waited until it dropped on Crave.
Yep.
And I finally watched it. Dave, I know you haven't seen it, so I'll try and keep my spoilers to a minimum.
What are we what are we spoiling here?
Vin Diesel absolutely slept through the film. I
Oh
don't,
my
I
god!
don't
Right?
really,
He was just
yeah,
like
just awful.
family.
Like
Family.
seriously. John Cena adds nothing to the franchise, and that is a huge disappointment because I love John Cena.
My boy Peacemaker.
Peacemaker does not make any
No.
impact at all.
Wow.
And his ending arc, like the arc to his character,
Oh,
you could
God.
see from the moment he walks onto the screen.
But not only that. I mean, you know what? Fuck it. At this point, like his whole character was set up to be he's the evil one, he's the villain because of reasons. Right.
Reasons.
And then in the third act, in a span of 5 minutes, he changes from "I'm completely against you" to "Hey, I'm gonna help you."
Of course, that's the Fast and
Like,
Furious way.
That is it.
Like,
That is
oh,
it.
sorry, I'm no longer about. I've given up all of my evil ways because I found out there's someone more evil than me.
Oh shit!
I also want to
No.
point out that they do an entire like flashback scene
Oh yeah,
based off a fucking throwaway line from the first
Yep.
movie.
Okay, that makes sense. They do that all the time. Pirates of the Caribbean, the third one, is based off of "Haven't you ever been to Singapore?" Like that's
Yeah.
the entire movie hinges on a random line in a movie.
Seriously, the backstory of
Oh,
that
Lord.
flashback scene, I was like, hey, I remember this. Vin Diesel talked about this in the first one. And my wife goes, I don't remember that. Yeah. Because who the fuck does?
nobody.
Apparently, you
Nobody.
do.
Nobody with the continuity.
Okay,
Because
I
I've
have.
seen the first one like at least like 37 times.
Because it's gold.
Why wouldn't you just
in a
watch
row.
Point Break instead?
Yes, I know.
No.
Anyways, I have two questions.
Yes.
Yes.
The first, how was the space?
The space was all right. All right. Like,
That's not what I want to hear.
yeah. It was
Dave,
just
they go to
okay.
space in a Pontiac Fiero.
Exactly. And Tyrese brings snacks.
That sounds awesome. What are you
It's-
guys
it's-
talking
yeah.
about?
It's like Homer Simpson in space.
It's basically Homer Simpson in space.
That sounds
With
awesome.
the chips. It's something.
It's
Okay.
Yes.
Question the second.
Yes.
Is Corona back or is he still drinking Bud?
Corona is back.
yeah,
Good.
Cronus man.
Is
Okay.
back.
Okay, and
And
there
the-
was just like a side swerve in Fast 8.
I think he just didn't have the money for Corona. You know,
What do you mean he
Corona's
didn't have the
expensive.
money for Corona?
Maybe he was hard times. He was on the run, Dave. Like, come on now.
So he didn't have money for Corona, so he's just like, oh, we'll just get some Bud.
Hey, at least it was Bud and not Bush Light.
Yeah, Tony
Shout out
loves
to
his,
Bush Light.
Tony loves his
Bush
Bush
Light
Light.
sponsor our show.
Please.
That's exactly the kind of sponsor we're
Yeah.
gonna get. Is
Yeah, it's
fucking
Definitely.
Bush Light.
Last thing I want to say about F9.
Yeah.
I would rather watch Too Fast, Too Furious on repeat
On
than
repeat.
sit through this movie again.
Ava Mendez though.
Eva Mendes.
True.
Eva Mendes.
Oof.
And our boy,
Our boy Paul Walker.
Paul Walker.
R.I.P.
R.I.P.
In P. So my best man worse.
Yes,
I won't.
please.
I won't take too long with it. I actually didn't watch a whole lot over the last 2 weeks. I got Horizon Forbidden West, and I sunk 35 hours into it over the last 2 weeks.
Boo.
I beat it, so I'm done. But anyway,
Nerd.
I still fit in some movies.
Was it worth the 35 hours?
100%.
Okay.
Really enjoyed it. But anyway,
All right.
I digress. To my best man worst. I still have some. I'm avoiding. I'm not going to use the movie that we all saw and that this episode is going to be about.
Yes, I wouldn't use it.
So I have to. It's a little bit of splitting hairs in order because I put them all on my Letterboxd. They're all at either a 3 or a 3.5.
Give us the damn list,
So-
James.
I'm putting best as The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I enjoy it.
That's
It's
fair. That's
comfort food for me. You'll see why in a moment that ended up being the best.
Well, Zoe's in it, and my boy Sam Rockwell.
Exactly. And Sam Rockwell is just chewing the scenery. He's just
He
fantastic.
usually does.
Who's
It's
the voice? Does he
wonderful.
dance?
Yeah.
Okay. Who's the voice of the robot?
Our boy Alan Rickman.
Alan Rickman.
R.I.P.
R.I.P.
Yeah,
maybe I'll
everything
rewatch
about it is just fun. You got Martin Freeman. You got
Mos
Bill
Def.
Nighy. You got Mos Def. He's not Mos Def anymore. I don't remember what his actual name is now. He changed it.
Isn't it Meta World Peace?
Maybe. I don't know.
the
He's He's
That's not right.
I believe he
It's gotta
changed it when
be-
he converted to Islam, but
He
I don't
probably
remember what
did.
it is now.
Okay, the artist formerly known as Mostef.
The artist formerly known as Mos Def.
Yaslin Bey.
That's it.
That's
Yaslin
it.
Bey.
I was actually thinking of
Did I
the
say it right?
basketball player.
No,
Ron
Yassine.
Artest.
Yassine Bey.
Yassine Bey. There we go.
Apologies.
So that I'm putting on my best. It's a comfort thing for me. I've enjoyed it for a long time.
Okay.
It's not amazing by any stretch of the imagination. Still solid.
I get it.
My meh. I'm gonna go with the animated Batman Year One.
Okay.
I watched it after watching the most recent Batman installment, only because like I know Year One is kind of a source of inspiration for it.
Fair.
And I just wanted to see because I'd never seen it before, but I knew sort of about it. I've read the comic, like the graphic novel.
Yeah, don't call it a comic.
Sorry, I've read the graphic novel, the entirety of it, and I really enjoyed it. And I never watched the animation version of it, and I've always liked Batman animated films, so I gave it a shot. But I love Bryan Cranston as Jim Gordon.
That's fair.
He was a good Jim Gordon. in
Very
that.
good Jim Gordon.
Yeah.
I absolutely despised Ben McKenzie as Batman.
That's
He
fair.
just like
That's fair.
he starts off narrating about Gotham City in a complete monotone, and I'm just like, what are you doing, man?
So he
like,
was
what is
basically
this?
Ryan Atwood.
Yeah,
as Bruce
basically,
Wayne.
it was the OC featuring Bruce Wayne.
Didn't he end up playing Jim Gordon on the show?
Yes, he did. He did
Yeah.
play Jim Gordon on the show Gotham.
That's fun.
Yeah,
That's super
So,
fun.
I
Little
guess-
Easter egg there.
odd, but anyway, it worked. I mean, it's a pretty faithful adaptation of the graphic novel, but
Okay.
it's like
I don't
it's-
love the graphic novel.
It's too faithful to it though. Like you're in a movie and like every 20 seconds I'm jumping ahead a week. And like you didn't have to structure it this way. You could have done whatever you wanted.
Well, you say that, but did it come out after The Killing Joke or before The Killing Joke?
Before.
It was 2011.
Okay.
So-
And The Killing Joke was okay.
Yeah,
Because I was going to
Killing
say
Joke was after.
when they pivot and they change it,
Yeah,
they change it up.
no, I know.
And you see something like The Killing
But
Joke,
there's-
you have a reason
For
why
sure,
you
and
would have
there's a-
wanted to
there's-
stay close.
There's a reason for like making those kinds of changes and like you can do certain things, but like it was like
not
they
what
just
they did in Killing Joke.
not what they did in Killing Joke, but you know, moving from a page to a screen, it gives you different kinds of freedom.
Okay.
That's different from what a graphic novel sort of constrains you to, because you're not stuck on pages. You can make things a little bit more cinematic. But it was literally just graphic novel on the screen, and it's like, okay, I guess you animated it a little bit, but like it was just like April 1st, April 15th, April 28th, and it was like jumping, and it was like 5 seconds of dialogue, jump, 5 seconds of dialogue, jump, and I'm like, yeah, okay, I get that's what the graphic novel did, but you don't have to do that. You can do whatever you want with the story. You can shrink the timeline a little bit. You don't have to jump as much. You can combine weeks together if you wanted. You didn't. And it just jumps and jumps and jumps. And it's not necessary. It doesn't further the plot other than, yeah, okay, it's called year one, so we got to get through a whole year. Sure. I don't need the calendar dates as we do it. This isn't fucking the long Halloween. Like,
That's fair.
there's no other purpose to the date other than to move the story along.
That's fair.
Anyway, that ended up being my meh. It was fine. I enjoyed it. I'm going to do a controversial opinion here. Dave's not going to be happy.
Is it Bloodsport? Are you going to?
It's not Bloodsport.
Speak ill of the
It
Kumite?
might be worse. I didn't love broadcast news.
No.
I know.
Oh.
I know. I said
Oh.
it. I said it was going to be controversial.
The fuck?
It just didn't work for me.
You don't
It
like
just-
you don't like journalism? You don't like love stories? You don't like James L. Brooks?
I don't like the combination of all three. I
What about Albert Brooks?
love Albert Brooks. I don't like him in this. It just didn't.
What about William Hurt?
I-
Billy Hurt.
I
What
love
about
him.
what about Holly Hunter?
Love him.
Fucking Jack Nicholson.
Love them all. Didn't love them in this movie. Didn't work for me, and I think it's because
The
I
fuck
wanted
outta
it
here.
to be. That's fair. I wanted it to be a more like it focuses on journalism, but it's mainly a love drama. Like it's love
That's
comedy rom-com thing in there, and news is like the structure around it.
It still speaks to what news was in the
For
80s
sure.
and what was coming.
And that worked for me. That part worked. It's the love thing that didn't do it for me. I didn't connect with it, and That's just me. I'm not saying it's a bad movie. I'm just saying it didn't work for me.
I'm not as disappointed as I was about the Kumite, but
I know it's pretty bad.
you're on my shit
pretty
list,
bad.
Amatuzio. You're on my shit list.
Anyway, that's our best man worst. So that's all done and wrapped up. Let's move on to our main event. Why we're here. Why we're gathered on this eve talking. Because the three of us went on a Thursday night to a VIP screening of The Batman.
Ooh, spooky.
Cue the Nirvana song now.
From here on out, I want to be referred to as Vengeance.
You're not going to be called.
You are not Vengeance, and nobody's calling you that.
1,200% raise in fucking Spotify listens.
Yeah,
on that
man.
song. That's nuts.
Good for the surviving two members of Nirvana.
Yeah. Hey, Tony, you're right.
No.
It was such a great band when Kurt was still in it, man. I don't know why he left.
Just.
I don't know why he left.
He stuck around.
Can you tell me why he left?
One moment of lapse in judgment. Just let it go.
It's up there with Whip It on Oscar Buzz, buddy.
It's a really good moment though.
It's
really
a
good. I
great
love it. It's
fucking
just
moment.
You gotta let it go.
it's just this.
It's Dave Grohl's in Nirvana, right?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I saw
He's
his.
the drummer of Nirvana.
I saw his movie recently, and
Studio
he's a
666.
character. Yeah, he's a character.
Yeah, man.
He's a
Very
character.
excited to see Studio 666.
Me too.
I would lower your enthusiasm, but
You can
It's
if you want a flavor of what that'll look like, just watch Dave Grohl's Hot Ones. It's very good. Let's get to the Batman.
let's
though.
get to the Batman, the goddamn Batman. Hopefully
So-
that's what the sequel's called.
the goddamn Batman. So yeah, the good thing about this is we get to do this podcast with a certified Batman scholar, Dave Baldwin.
Unpublished Batman scholar.
Published, but man, I remember that I read that thesis.
Oof.
Good for you, buddy.
Oof.
I remember having the debate of the 78 times we watched that one scene from The Dark Knight over and over, where the tumbler throws a truck into the ceiling. We were trying to figure out if the guy died or not, and we watched it in slow mo. We're like, no, he couldn't have survived that. He could not have survived that. I don't know which way you went on it, but that guy definitely died.
No, I said that he murdered that gentleman. That gentleman did not make it out of that alive.
That was a crushed truck. Anyway,
Absolutely.
He tasted the top of that bridge.
yeah. So because we have a nice certified Batman scholar with us, we have the insight that we've all craved since Dave has read everything and watched everything that there is to do with Batman.
That was like 10. Everything up to including like 10 years ago. No, none of this Snyder stuff. None of the Snyder stuff.
Oh,
Don't come at me, Snyder haters.
Release the Snyder cut, Dave.
I'm not.
They
did.
I know they did.
And Dave still hasn't seen it.
They did. I'm not going to speak ill of the Snyder cut. I'm just not going to. My boy is Ben Affleck. I've always been Team Affleck. Just none of that. None of that.
So then let's start with that then. Our Pats. Robert
Pats,
Pattinson.
my boy.
Yeah. Did you have reservations to start?
No.
You knew he was going to crush it from day
Oh,
one.
I knew he was going to crush it. The thing about the whole Batman, every Batman movie, there's always somebody, they always hate the casting, and then it ends up being like the greatest thing ever. Everyone hated on Heath Ledger, and now he's a legend. Now that character is legendary.
Right.
That performance is legendary.
Cemented. It's the one that every performance is graded against.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly. So and Michael Keaton, Ben Affleck,
Yeah.
all of them. They always had something stupid to say about all of them. So when they were starting to say stupid things about our Pats, it was like, maybe you should just wait.
Yeah.
Just give it a minute.
Yeah.
Give it a wee sec. I knew he would kill it. And they always were comparing it to Twilight. And he's done other stuff since Twilight.
Sure. Yeah,
he's done
for sure.
so much other stuff since Twilight.
sure.
Like his performance in fucking Good Time.
Good Times.
The Lighthouse.
The Lighthouse, man.
High Life with the fuck
yeah.
box. Like, he knows he got typecast because of Twilight, or stereotyped because of Twilight, but he's broken out of that.
Yeah.
And I knew he would kill it. And from the moment he walked on the screen, he was amazing.
Yeah.
He's terrific. He might not I'm a purist and I love my Keaton, but he was a terrific Batman.
Absolutely.
And I can't comment on his Bruce Wayne because he wasn't really Bruce Wayne in it,
Sure.
which was a very big divergence from all the other Batman movies. but he's a terrific Batman, and hopefully in the next one they'll play up Bruce Wayne. And if they don't, I could care less because I love I love his Batman.
Yeah, I could say two things on that. One, yeah, from the moment he stepped on screen, I knew I was sold on him. It was just that the voiceover that was working, because I was like, oh man, we're gonna go down this rabbit hole, and yeah, it worked. The whole movie clicked from scene one for me. Like, it was just like, oh yeah, I'm in this.
You love that. You love those finger snaps.
Yeah, man.
It's called finger guns, not finger snaps.
There's a good one for the audio cues. No, from scene one, I was in. I was sold, and like, I love that it started off with like this deep, brooding like narration from Batman's journal, which also I love that he has a journal.
Batman's log. October 31st.
Reminded me a lot of Watchmen.
Exactly what I was gonna say.
Literally,
Yeah.
like it was it literally felt that like it was like Rorschach's journal.
Yeah.
Did it not remind you of year one? You were literally just talking about
Yes, I was getting there, Dave.
Let him talk.
He's getting there. Yes, Rorschach 1, which is also hilarious since Rorschach was calling out what Batman was.
Yes, Rorschach was inspired by Batman. I get it.
And then year one, I was like, yeah. And and that's where I was just like immediately like, oh, man, Ben McKenzie, you just let me down. Robert Pattinson, come in, redo year one with Robert Pattinson voicing Batman. We'll be in a much better place.
That's fair.
Yeah, I liked how young he was. I didn't mind that he wasn't Bruce Wayne all that much. I mean, it was year two of him being Batman. Like, it was his second year.
You would have thought he would be fully absorbed into the Batman role and assuming that persona.
Yeah, and like he's definitely more into the Batman persona than he is in the Bruce Wayne, and that makes sense because Batman is his real persona.
That's true.
Bruce Wayne is his alter ego. He hasn't figured out how to be Bruce Wayne.
Exactly, yet. And he's still fucked up. He's still weird. He's still
listening to Nirvana.
He's still traumatized. PTSD.
Yeah, he still has PTSD. Like he's
leaning against the subway window while it's raining, and he's crying a little. Yeah,
right. And he's actually coloring in the eyeshadow. Like he's fucked up. And I'm happy that they didn't really go into Bruce Wayne because they didn't need to. And thank the Lord we didn't have to see his parents die again.
Yeah, one of my notes was no popcorn and pearls in this one.
Thank Jesus for that.
Swear to God, when it opened on the scene with the kid and the dad, I was like, holy shit, is this Bruce Wayne and his dad? Because like the whole Zorro throwaway, right? And I was like, really?
Oh yeah, he was Zorro, wasn't he?
The kid was Zorro, and I was like, shit, are we fucking gonna see it again?
That was a Matt Reeves call out to.
I didn't even realize
we're not doing it.
Yeah.
I was so happy that they didn't do it. Like, I know they go into the backstory, but they didn't really. Where they
don't need to see it anymore.
They made it clear that they weren't saints, which I was like, okay, I like that as opposed to Saint Thomas Wayne and Martha Wayne type thing. It was nice that they were flawed. They have some flaws,
100%.
And yeah, I just like that they didn't have to get into that, and they didn't have to get into who Bruce Wayne is. Like, he's a brooding fucking guy who lives in a bat cave.
Exactly.
And
he's got some issues.
He's got some fun.
And he has all the money demons. In the world.
He's got some demons.
Yeah. Yeah. And he's got Andy Serkis there for friends.
Yeah, exactly.
He's his buddy. His pseudo dad that he doesn't respect as his father yet.
Obviously, but
we'll get there.
We'll get there. But even all of that, it just kind of like it speaks to the fact that we've had so many fucking Batman movies, and they don't need to redo the like. I'm pretty sure my son came out of the womb after I told him I was his dad. I'm pretty sure he looked at me. He's like, Batman's parents died in Crime Alley, right?
Yeah.
Joe Chill shot him. Yeah, Quentin. That's exactly right. I'm glad you've been alive. You've been out of the womb for 30 seconds, and you already know.
We've had it so many different places that it's time. You know what? Like I like that this movie is just like, you know what? The world understands who Batman is when they're coming to watch this movie. We don't need the backstory. We know. We know exactly what happens.
We don't.
It's been fucking however many years. We know.
We know.
Good.
His parents are dead.
It's okay.
His parents are dead. He's sad. Move on.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you, Matt Reeves, for understanding.
Oh, yes. Matt Reeves. That guy's had an interesting filmography.
Yeah. The pallbearer?
Yeah.
Still
Cloverfield?
Cloverfield.
Then in my opinion, the two better reboot of the Apes movies.
And Let Me In, the remake of Let the Right One In.
Shot for shot.
It's
It
okay.
wasn't quite shot for shot.
It was almost shot for shot, wasn't it?
He did that car thing that he did in Batman,
Right.
and I think he did it in another one. He
Yeah.
might have done it in Apes or one of the other ones. He's definitely done it a couple of
Yeah.
times.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I remember how cool it was in Let Me In, and it looks great in the Batman too.
Oh man.
What are you referring to?
Like when the car overturns.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And he did that in Apes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
For
yeah,
sure.
he's done it a few times.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought we were talking about when the car starts up because
Oh yeah.
I almost came in my pants when that happened. That was amazing.
Yeah.
First, I was like, "Oh shit, is this car Knight Rider?" Because it's got like the red right in the front. I was like, "Oh fuck, Kit's back." All right, what a weird crossover.
I love that scene. Is just so perfect, and it's just like the bass and just like
Oh.
it's like full blown horror movie. Like the
Yeah.
whole movie, like the first half of the movie is a full blown horror movie.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
there's just like shit straight out of Saw in it, which I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, all right. Everyone keeps
Yeah.
talking about Seven, but fuck, talk about Saw.
Yeah.
and then that scene, which is just like incredible.
Yeah, the everything worked for that moment too.
Yeah.
Like the sound design in this movie is already incredible, but it was just like, fuck. Watching that, it was menacing.
Yeah.
When it started up, and like I get that was a point. And I was watching. There was a video that was throwing around on. I think Dolby did it. And it was the guy that did the sound design for the car, and he's like, "Yeah, the car is meant to instill fear too." And I'm like, "Well, fucking A, I almost shit my pants."
did.
Like,
And it looks like a car.
yeah,
Yeah.
It doesn't look like a tank, and it doesn't
No.
need a grappling hook to to turn a corner.
turning radius of adequate.
It's a muscle car.
Yeah,
All American muscle for sure, man.
with a jet engine strapped
Oh,
to the back.
Yeah,
like
definitely.
Like I know that he was going for gritty realism, but it was still nice to see certain things where you're like, okay, this
Yeah.
isn't taking me out of the movie because he painted a tank.
Yeah, exactly. He's not driving a tank that can also like spawn out a motorcycle. It's just like he has a car that has a jet engine strapped to it. It's very like he was working in his garage and he was trying to make this car go faster, and he went, "What if I just put a jet engine on it because I can afford to buy a jet engine?"
And
And he did it.
and he keeps making mistakes, like that
Yeah.
that like flying squirrel suit where he
Oh yeah, and he eats.
Oh my
he
god.
eats shit.
Oh my god.
First of all,
that
I
part
love the
was
fact that he was
amazing.
just like, oh shit, yeah, like there was actual prep work for him jumping off a building. Unlike every other Batman that's just like, and soar. And like,
Or in Batman Returns where he suddenly gets the wings in
Yeah.
between shots.
yeah. And then it's gone again.
And then it's gone again.
What? Yeah. So I like that there was prep and he had to like seal himself into his little wingsuit, and then he jumped off and he took off like a bullet, and then he just biffed it. I'm like, what are you doing?
And he just walks it off. Like,
Just
yeah,
walks it-
good
just
for you,
walks it off.
Brucey.
Yeah.
Good
Not
for
even-
you.
not even a scratch on
He
his
didn't need
body.
the adrenaline flask for that one.
Well, we don't know if he didn't have a scratch. He did. He was like limp. He was injured.
Homie was in pain. Homie took a lot of damage on that.
He was upset.
His health bar was down to like a quarter.
He was hurt. He was hurt. He survived it, but he was hurt. He shouldn't have survived it, but he was hurt.
Doesn't he smack his head off like part of the bridge or something?
Yeah, he hits the top of the bus, smacks into the bridge, and then like falls on the ground. I'm just like, oh man, like I don't.
Yeah,
it just
he-
worked
he
so.
was in-
It was wonderful.
was-
It
he was in
felt
pain.
painful.
It
though.
felt painful. Yeah.
I think I laughed, but I was like, oh man,
Yeah. That that looked
that hurts.
that looked very painful.
Oh
But I guess there's like steel in the helmet. I guess.
yeah, he's not using those brittle ones from the Dark Knight that shatter because of the
Oh.
bad shipment. Or was that Batman Begins? Maybe that was Begins.
Begins.
Yeah.
Yeah. The bad ship. Or like Bane pounding on his face.
Yeah.
There was that too. There was that too.
Yeah.
Can we also point out how funny the Batman was?
A lot of people said
sure.
it wasn't funny.
Oh,
Oh,
man,
no, there
I
was
was
jokes.
laughing my ass off.
I
during
thought
some
it was
of
funny.
Yeah.
I thought his banter with Jim Gordon when they're busting
Brilliant.
each other's balls was
I love
great.
that.
Brilliant. His humor with the thumb drive.
Oh yeah,
The thumb drive. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a good bit.
When you try the thumb.
What? Like it was just so deadpan, like deadpan humor, just like Batman just staring at them, like and like when the cops are just like, what the fuck, man? Like
Yeah.
when he's
Yeah.
just in, like,
Buddy, what are you doing?
What are you doing? And he like picks up a piece
He's
of the
with
evidence.
me.
He's like, what the fuck are you doing? Like it was.
I also-
it was funny.
I love the really subtle joke too, where like Batman. So in the first bit, after he's looking into the case of the first murder, and he's wandering around the room, and he notices like there's a a pool of something, some sort of liquid, blood probably on the floor, and he stops and he stares at it for a bit, and then he moves on, and the forensic lady was just following behind him and went, "Oh shit," and like took a photo of it. And I'm like, "Yeah, nice."
Or like the guy
Batman's a
who's
detective.
or the guy who's like, "Excuse me,"
Yeah.
needs to get by him.
Yeah.
I like that I like the other ones, like he has like the detective skills type thing, but this one, like he was the
He's a
full
straight
blown
up detective.
world's greatest
Loved
detective
it.
mode, and I thought that was
Loved
great, and I thought it was really cool. The
Recording contact lens.
the recording contact lens, I thought that was cool, and it kind of it just like that
and
just
it has
explains
problems.
so much.
And it
just
has
explains so
problems
much.
too. It didn't it wasn't perfect. Like
Yeah.
when he gave it to Selena Kyle, and she was going in the thing, and like there was frequency issues, and he was trying to sort it out. Like I love that nothing was perfect. Nothing was just like, this is my brilliant technology and it works all the time and you can use it for anything. It's radar on your fucking phone and it always works. Like it's just like, no, this thing has issues, and like he has to troubleshoot it on the go.
Yeah, and when he's I don't know why they never come back to him being creepy and watching Selena through a window, because that's a little odd.
Yeah.
But to your point, yeah, like I think as a whole, it just they did a really good job of setting the stage and kind of making it that he wasn't perfect. He's still wet behind the ears. He's still figuring his shit out. He's not a great Bruce Wayne because he doesn't know how to be Bruce Wayne, and
Yeah.
he's still like he wasn't perfect, and I think that speaks volumes to how well done it was. And I love that he was the detective.
Yeah.
I love that he was full-blown detective, and I love that they didn't waste any time explaining things.
100%.
Him
They
and
just
Jim
dropped in
were
and
good.
go.
Him and Jim are good.
Yep.
His parents are dead. Good.
Cool. Move on. Let's go.
Move on. Let's
Yeah.
keep going. Let's not stop. Let's keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about the hero side, I guess. So we talked about Robert Pattinson. We were talking about Jeffrey Wright as Jim Gordon, doing a really great job as Jim Gordon. But I'm low key a Jeffrey Wright stan. I love him and everything he does. So
you could tell that like Gordon was like he was over his head. Like he wasn't like
he was just Detective Gordon.
He was just Detective Gordon. Like
He wasn't commissioner. He wasn't
No.
high ranking yet.
He was
I think he was
ordinary-
lieutenant. I think he was lieutenant.
Lieutenant Gordon.
Yeah.
You're right.
he was just an ordinary detective, and like you could tell that like I said, like he was in over his head. He was making mistakes. He wasn't thinking logically.
Oh, did
right?
he ever? Never. First of all,
Oh my
just a
God.
public service announcement for anybody out there who watched this movie and went, "Oh yeah, that seemed fine." Look, if you ever find a thumb drive, whether it's attached to a human thumb or not, if you don't know what's on that drive, never, ever, and I repeat, ever, plug it into a computer that is connected to a network or that has shit that's important on it. Jim, you fucked up, buddy.
You biffed it.
You put it right in there on a personal, like, fucking Gotham City PD computer that was connected to a fucking network, and then you were like, oh shit, it's emailing everybody. Yeah, no fucking shit. What do you think, the Riddler was gonna fucking put a nice picture of a pony on there for you? Like, what? Of course it was malware. What the fuck did you expect it to be?
And that's what I mean, because he always let his emotions get the better of him, right? Like he was just making dumb decisions that like a detective shouldn't be making, right?
Yeah.
And it was just a different Gordon than we've gotten. A
Yeah.
Gordon that would be similar to the Gordon that we see in Gotham.
Sure. Yes.
If you actually watched that show,
Never did.
No one ever did. I watched it.
It ran for 5 seasons, man. Somebody watched.
I got to 4, and then I gave up.
You just tapped out. It was too much.
It's just more of the same. More of the same nonsense.
Didn't Poison Ivy like age up between seasons?
Yes, she did. Yes, she did.
Hilarious.
Yes.
Jesus.
And Bruce Wayne turned into Batman when he was a teenager.
That's fine. That makes sense. That checks out.
Yeah, it kind of tracks. Yeah.
That tracks.
Still a little on the young side, but yeah, I get where you're going.
But
for.
this kid didn't have any. He
Too young.
too young.
He didn't have.
Too
He
young.
didn't have the strong upper jaw.
No, he didn't.
The
No, he
cleft chin.
That cleft chin. Yeah.
Fucking Pattinson. That's strong. That's a strong.
Yeah,
jaw.
man.
That's
Cut
strong.
glass with that jaw.
Yeah, man.
Other heroes. Before we get to the other big one. Did you like Andy Serkis as Alfred?
I didn't think he really did much. He was just kind of there.
He needed to be there.
He needed
To
be
move
there.
one piece of the plot
They
along.
sidelined him, and I didn't really appreciate that. It needed.
I think
it
he's the only
needed
one that
more
got
Alfred.
unfortunately sidelined. Everyone else.
For the moments he was on screen, though, I enjoyed.
Oh,
him.
he was good on screen.
Yeah.
Like there was nothing wrong with him. He was just out of everybody, he would be the most sidelined.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it had, based on where the plot was going, it needed to happen. But they had to pick someone. Who were they going to pick? The maid that we didn't even know. I didn't even know we had a maid.
He did in the Adam West show.
Oh,
He did
okay.
have a maid there.
Hardcore. That's a big callback.
I assume he had a maid in the comics as well, but usually it's just
Just Alfred. It's just Alfred's managing this entire mansion on his own.
Yeah, it makes a little
Dusting
more sense.
all the
It
glass
makes a
and
little
shit.
more sense since Alfred's the man in the chair that he would have somebody who's actually cleaning shit.
Yeah, it was like, who's dusting the cobwebs? What time does Alfred have to do all this housework?
And is she upset when she has to clean all the fucking chalk or paint off the
Oh
floor?
my god! What a mean man to his house lady.
That's so inconsiderate.
Sorry, we're talking about a moment where in the film, Batman's trying to figure out how all these pieces of the puzzle connect.
He's trying to connect everything
and
together.
he pushes aside a giant table in this big room. And
How
then-
heavy is that fucking table?
No idea,
He
but
don't
he's
care.
Batman.
He's Batman. He can do anything.
And he chalks the entire, like, it's a huge
Not chalk,
circle.
paints.
Paints his floor. It's like spray paint, I think.
Yeah, I think it's
There was
spray
a
paint.
can.
Yeah, I think it's spray paint.
He spray paints his whole floor with white spray paint.
Clues.
And like tries to map everything out, and I'm like, man, you're such a dick. Like, someone has to, like, I know you're still in like the room where like the package exploded, spoiler, but like someone's got to redo this whole thing. Like, someone's got to clean this shit up. Like, you put a whole bunch of paint on the floor, that doesn't come out. They're gonna have to get like paint strippers, and you dick.
He's got the money.
Yeah, just put in a new floor.
Yeah, that's probably what he would do. He'd
Yeah.
probably
Just burn it and start again.
He probably would just burn it and start again.
Do you have a favorite Alfred?
I kind of love the Burton Schumacher one.
Oh yeah,
I think his name is Alfred. Not Al. You find out what his
Alfred
name is.
Pennyworth is the character.
Yes. No, I know what his name is, and it's in my head. I don't know. Like, find out what his actual name is, but I just
Burton Schumacher. Him.
Michael
Goff.
Michael
Yes.
Goff. Okay.
I was saying Alfred Goff. No, Michael Goff.
Yeah.
He is because he's old enough, and he's a wise ass, and he's kind of like, yeah, he let Vicky Vale into the Batcave, but
whatever.
outside of that,
One slip up in his long tenure.
it's a big fucking slip up. But everything else, like, that's just who Alfred always was to me. He wasn't fucking Jeremy Irons, who's like an ex-Marine.
Sure.
And he wasn't
Michael Caine.
Michael Caine.
I found you.
I don't know. That's who I always pictured Alfred
fair.
as, was kind of an
I
older
actually
guy.
liked Michael Caine. Michael Caine was he was sweet. He had that like fatherly role.
Yeah, man, he had the anecdotes.
He had the anecdotes, like that whole thing about like watching the world burn, about him in
The
Burma.
Ruby in Burma.
Like,
Burn the jungle.
like just read that story to
Yeah.
me at bedtime. Like,
I don't know that that's a bedtime story, Tony.
Yeah, that's
but,
not. Yeah,
yeah.
a village in Burma
Yeah.
with rubies the size of tangerines. No,
but you know what? Like he had the stories, and I just appreciated that, and I liked it. But going back to what Dave said, that would probably his choice, Michael
Goff.
He is realistically the Alfred, but
Sure.
I kind of lean towards Michael Caine.
That's
for
fair. That's fair. Mine is the Alfred from the animated series.
Oh, that's fair.
That's the look, to me. That's the look that Alfred is, with the weird triangle mustache. It's I don't know. It's just always stuck in my head as like that is who Alfred is. I like all the other ones. I don't really have a problem with any of them.
So does that mean you're a big Conroy? You're big on Conroy?
Yeah, I like Kevin Conroy.
Yeah,
As a voice, I think he's my favorite Batman voice.
that's fair.
Maybe not so much like my favorite Batman actor, but my favorite Batman voice by far
That's fair.
is Kevin Conroy.
That's fair.
Definitely.
It's just he has the gravitas that you want from Batman.
That's fair.
But
That's fair.
That's my best Kevin Conroy. I'm not very good at it.
No, you're not. It's pretty bad.
Yeah, it's
Pretty,
bad.
I'll give that.
That's fine.
I'll give it a 3 out of 10.
That's
You
fine.
get a 2.
I was happy that Pattinson didn't try to put on a goofy
Oh
voice.
yeah, he was just Pattinson. He was
Yeah.
well, he was just his version of Batman, which
Yeah.
wasn't like I'm not wearing hockey pants.
Yeah, not that.
Not that.
Yeah.
Not Clint Eastwood with a cold.
Yeah.
Yeah. Clint Eastwood after
love it.
2 packs a day.
I love it. I love
You mean
it.
two
Yeah.
No, that's
Marlboro
Clint
Man.
Eastwood.
Marlboro Man Batman.
It's not Sam Elliott. That's Marlboro Man.
Sam Elliott. Sioux City Sarsaparilla.
I
Shout out to
me and Sam Elliott. I don't
Having
like his,
issues.
I don't like his words about Power of the Dog, but that's for another episode.
Completely. Last hero I guess we can talk about is Miss Selena Kyle.
Yeah, they don't call her Catwoman, although she says she calls herself the Cat at one point. But
She got a lot of cats, man.
yeah, she's a fan. Of
I fucking loved
she likes
all
the
of those
strays.
scenes with Robert Pattinson in her house and just like cats
Okay,
are just
yeah.
like around him and he's just like just checking them all out. There's a cat like rubbing against him on the
just
counter.
beside himself,
Yeah.
not knowing how to react.
I just love that, like, she's pissed off. They fucking just threw her shit around in the house, and after all that, I just need a big glass of milk.
Hell yeah, man. Nothing calms me down like a big old glass of 2%.
Oh man.
Like that was amusing. That was amusing.
Yeah, I liked her. I like Zoe Kravitz as an actress in general. I like Zoe Kravitz, but no, I think she did great. She fit the role very well.
Oh yeah.
I have issues around what they did with her story and her arc.
That's what I was also gonna mention.
It's in the graphic novels. Same thing. They pulled that
Yeah.
out of one of the graphic novels.
Yeah. I don't know. I just didn't think... Okay.
And I half assumed that was what was going to happen anyway. We don't need to spoil it. If you read the graphic novels, you probably know what's coming. But
Right. But I think it ties into a longer talk about a criticism. So we'll get to that in a sec. Like, let's not get into, like, my main criticism of this movie.
Sure.
Because it all kind of ties in.
Sure.
So we'll leave it at Selena Kyle was great. Zoe Kravitz was great in it. Acting-wise in this movie, did you hate anybody? Because I liked everybody. in it.
Everybody was aces.
Everybody was aces, and her chemistry with Pattinson was great. Everybody was great. I don't think there was a weak character in the movie.
No, there was characters that didn't get utilized very much, but I think they maximized their time as much as they could.
Yeah.
I didn't hate anybody.
No.
Yeah.
I wasn't like, oh fuck, why are you here? Like everything worked.
Why the fuck did they put Peter Sarsgaard in that role though? Like he definitely needed more.
Yeah.
Like
Wait,
he was
who was
good.
Peter Sarsgaard in it?
The DA.
He was the DA, yeah.
Oh yes, yeah. That was not enough Peter Sarsgaard in general.
No, it wasn't.
But again, underutilized, not poorly acted.
That's fair.
Yeah. On the villain side, Tony,
yeah.
how was the Riddler for you?
Riddler was great. He was unhinged. He was violent. He reminded me a lot of the Joker in The Dark Knight, right? Where he just wanted.
Oh, so he passed the Heath Ledger test?
Yes, he passed it. He.
Okay, let's not say things we can't take back.
Sure.
What do I have written down here? He just wanted to see the world. He just wanted to expose Gotham for what it was, and put everything into chaos.
Yeah.
Like
I'm an agent of chaos.
He just wanted. He just literally just set up the pieces and watched them topple like dominoes, and like just wanted everything to burn.
I don't know that he set up the pieces so much as murdered a whole lot of people to prove his point.
Well, it's true. It's a full-blown serial killer.
Well,
he didn't make anybody else murder anybody.
And that's what I mean, right? He was a much more violent Riddler. He was more of a Riddler that you would see in the comics, and a Riddler that you saw in the Arkham video games.
Sure.
Right? And
it's definitely a hard pivot away from Jim Carrey.
Exactly. That's what I was gonna say. Like Jim Carrey is like far left, and fucking Paul Dano is far right. Like there is no cheese to what he brought. He was fucking psychotic.
Yeah.
But he was Paul Dano, trademark, psychotic. It was Paul Dano being psychotic.
That's fair. I was fine with it. I thought he was menacing
liked
enough.
him.
I liked him.
Unhinged is a
He
good
was
word.
unhinged.
He was
Unhinged.
terrifying.
He was pretty terrifying.
He was terrifying for sure.
I thought he was very effective as the Riddler.
I like that they were freaking out about his hundreds of followers.
Oh yeah, the 100.
He's got 500
He's got 500
followers.
Oh shit.
Buddy.
Also, can we just say the whole 5% of the movie takes place in the daytime and the rest of it takes place at night. There's rampant crime everywhere. Maybe Gotham isn't such a wholesome place.
Gotham's got issues.
Gotham's had issues, and there's like rampant drug trade and rampant drug abuse. Like maybe he doesn't. We don't need to say people are corrupt. It's very clear that things are rotten in Denmark.
But the city's basically. Does the corruption go?
Do you guys think
what
that the Bat Zoning exists in that universe? Because there's an ad for Little Caesars.
Then 100% it does. Little Caesars is like hook, line, and sinker into the Batman. Like they're co-sponsoring that spotlight in that abandoned construction yard that they're using. That's a Little Caesars brand spotlight with the bat symbol on it.
I would just be curious if Bruce was just like, yeah, I'm just feeling like a pizza. Okay, and Alfred's like, okay, which one do you want? Do you want just like the regular pizza, or do you want the Bat Zoning?
There's not even a question happening here.
He's
Dave.
definitely taking the Bat Zoni.
Alfred's ordering 6 Bat Zonies.
It's not even called the Bat
5 of them are for Bruce.
I like calling it
One
the
is
Bat
for Alfred
Zoni.
and the maid to split.
Oh my god.
Yeah, great. I liked all the villains. Colin Farrell, what the hell?
He's a great character actor.
Fantastic.
Yeah. I was just gonna say he kept harping that the Penguin was barely in it. He only had 6 scenes, right?
Sure.
But every scene he was in, he commanded the screen.
Oh,
yeah, man.
And I didn't think he was barely in it. I think he had a huge amount of screen time.
Hey, watch it, sweetheart.
Yeah.
He was just.
Oh my god.
He was something else, and I'm just so excited for the spinoff with him.
Yeah.
Because just give me 10 hours of Colin Farrell being the Penguin.
I'm just happy that Colin Farrell finally realized whatever his come to Jesus moment was. I think it might have been when he stopped drinking. That he realized that he's not a leading man and he's a character actor. Once they made that pivot, he's been brilliant the entire time since that pivot.
Yeah, I agree.
Like in Bruges, his stuff with Yorgos.
Oh man.
After Yang, which you guys haven't seen yet.
I've started it.
Yeah. It's like he's just a terrific character actor. And then when he was in Dumbo, he sucked. Right. He was the lead in Dumbo and he sucked.
Yeah.
But it didn't help.
He was the one-armed man, wasn't he?
Yeah, it didn't help that fucking Dumbo sucked.
Dumbo was going to fail no matter what Colin Farrell did.
Exactly.
In Dumbo.
But all that said, when he finally started being a character actor,
yeah, he owned
night
it.
And day.
And he knows, and oh man, he doesn't disappear into the background at all. He owns it.
He is on that screen,
front and center.
And if I didn't know that was Colin Farrell, no fucking clue.
Oh,
there was absolutely no clue.
There's one part where his voice kind of comes out, and you're like, okay, yeah, that's Colin Farrell type thing. But if you didn't, like you said, if you didn't know,
he's unrecognizable in all of the makeup that they did. It's fantastic makeup work. It looks so good. But yeah, and no disrespect to Danny DeVito as the previous Penguin that existed. I like this Penguin more.
Is it just because he's not spitting out black bile?
Yep.
Or
eating fresh fish.
Or,
give it to him raw and wriggling.
But I feel like they're not. I shouldn't. We shouldn't.
Or making sex jokes and ripping off people's noses.
yeah, exactly.
I'm just gonna keep at.
There's no disrespect. It's a completely different movie and completely different character and a completely different Gotham that they exist in. But I don't know. This one worked more for me, and I liked how hilarious he kind of was at times too. He had some great fucking ridiculous making fun of Batman for not knowing Spanish. Gold, perfect. No notes, 0 notes. And then
he walks away at like a penguin.
Yeah. Gold, and he gets stuck there, and they just leave him behind. Gold,
tied
it's
up
all
too.
great. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. He walks away like a penguin.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah. No notes on Colin Farrell. He can continue. I'm so excited for that show, much like Tony. I'm very, very excited for it.
It's gonna be a good time.
Yeah,
and especially because they're calling it a Scarface-esque show. Like, what more could you want from a Penguin TV show?
Well, you're Mr.
better.
Scarface over there. So obviously, if anybody says the word Scarface,
It
it.
better be a complete remake of Scarface, but featuring the Penguin.
Absolutely.
Did you know the Coens wrote a remake of Scarface?
Yes,
That's
they
amazing.
did.
That sounds hilarious.
That sounds
I
hilarious.
can't imagine the
Featured
Coen
John
brothers.
Turturro as Scarface.
Can't
But going
imagine.
back to your point about Penguin and Scarface, they just, instead of like a mountain of cocaine, it's just a mountain of fish.
I don't know that. I don't know.
I don't
that
think
Colin
he's a
Farrell
fish
needs
guy.
to eat fish.
I don't
Maybe
think he's a fish guy.
that'll be like a throwaway joke.
That'll be a
It's like
throwaway
eating, like,
joke.
a fish sandwich. Or
Yeah,
something.
there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And since you mentioned him, I thought Turturro was sinister. I thought he was
man.
great.
Oh, he played that part.
And they've
perfectly.
kept him out of the most of the marketing. And like, I was like, where the fuck is he?
Yeah,
But he's sizzling on that screen.
yeah. And the setup from the Riddler for
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
Okay, what else can we talk about that's like not spoilery, so that we can set this up like we did with Five Cream? And speaking of, I'm just going to do a quick sidebar here. I watched. I don't know if anybody else watches Honest Trailers.
Honest
but
Trailers. Yeah,
They did
yeah.
Honest Trailers for Scream 2022, and they called it Five Cream, and I was like, "That's our joke. We named that first, you fuckers."
We're not the first ones to call it Five
Definitely
Cream.
not, but I love that it's like it's catching on, man.
It's a
It's
thing.
trending.
It's a thing.
So yeah,
Five
let's.
Dive right into it. I've seen the
we've-
movie twice. I managed to see the movie twice. You
Right.
guys have only seen it once. So
We've talked about a lot of the good things about it. We'll come back to some other ones if anyone else any other great things about it. But my main criticism, and it was the only thing that really bugged me, was, God damn it, this movie's fucking long. It's too long.
well, they needed enough room for Michael Giacchino's score.
Yeah,
is
and
a god
It's-
tier score. We didn't
it's-
talk about it, but it's god tier.
I honestly in my notes I wrote a paragraph about Michael Giacchino's score. It's
We don't even.
incredible.
It's god tier. We don't need to talk about it
Yeah.
after that.
It's good enough that both Dave and myself bought it on vinyl from Mondo. Like,
Oh,
it was
yeah.
worth us spending U.S. money and U.S. shipping to get our hands on a copy of this score because it's absolutely gorgeous. Chef's kiss all the way. Yeah, and I get that they had to fit the score in, Dave, but it is fucking long. Like, and I was completely on board with this movie, completely through the entire mystery, all the way until midway through the third act. And then it just didn't seem to know when it wanted to end. And it just kind of kept going and going. And I'm like, are we wrapping this up anytime soon? Like, at one point, it was like, it got to one of those points where we've had these moments with movies where we're like, you know what, let's just see how much time is left. I did that midway through the movie. I took a quick glance at my watch, and I was like, oh, there's got to be like 45 minutes, half an hour. We got to be near the end. There was an hour and 10 minutes left. I was like, what more is there to do? What do we, and like, how have we not even dealt with the Riddler? Why are we at almost 2.5 hours and we're like just getting around to dealing with the Riddler's main plot now? That was my biggest thing. And like, I was trying to think of ways that they could cut, I don't know, 20 minutes out of it, because that's really, I think, all that you really need to trim out. Everything's so linked together. I don't know what you're supposed to cut in order to get it down. I just think that there needed to be some trimming somewhere to make it not 3 fucking hours long.
Yeah, it was too long. I felt like it ended 3 or 4 different times.
Yeah, the Return of the King style.
Return of the King style, right? And that's really only when I felt the runtime. When I felt the runtime shortly after the climax, and then I really felt it. I was like, okay, like, wrap this shit up. But what really bothered me was that it was like this neo-noir detective movie for like 70%, 75% of the movie.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it turns into a full-blown action movie. And I don't really think it needed that. It kind of defeated the detective story that they were trying to that they were trying to show in the beginning. Like, it was like this detective horror serial killer. Like, it was like a cross between. It reminded me a lot of Seven and Zodiac. Like, it felt like a Fincher movie. And then all of a sudden it just turns into a full-blown fucking action movie with all these explosions and all these set pieces and all that kind of stuff.
I mean, Batman's got a Batman at some
Yeah,
point.
I know he's got a Batman at some point.
He
but
was
like,
Bat Detective for most of the run. He's got a Batman at some point.
Yeah.
They made you sit there for 3 hours. They got to give you something by the end. They weren't going to give you a head in a box. Spoilers for 7.
It's been enough time. You don't need to put a spoiler alert on that one.
But like the first act was great. The second act was great. I just
Yeah.
felt like the third act just left a little bit.
Needed to be tightened up.
Needed to be tightened up and left a little bit to be desired.
Sure. Dave?
I didn't feel the length either time.
Really?
I was so far into the movie both times
Sure.
where I was just like, I'm in it.
Yeah.
Like I don't give a shit. Keep going, guys, keep going. I hated the 3 different endings. I hated the moment you started bringing up where it's so inorganically placed in there that you're just like, okay, yeah, that's clearly a Marvel credit scene that they just put into the movie because they didn't want to put it in the credits. Fine, but like they didn't need it. Period.
Absolutely not.
And apparently, there's another scene involving that character, which if you've been on social media, you know who we're talking about. Yeah. But you don't need it. It doesn't need to be there. Like maybe the other scene that they were talking about might have fit in somewhere, and I think it would have been a cool scene.
I think the scene that you're referring to would have worked better than the scene that
they
used.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the scene they used, it's fucking useless.
It was a tag on the end, and it was just like, okay, fucking wrap it up, guys.
Yeah,
like, they should either put this as a mid-credit scene to be like, we're having fun, but like,
they didn't need it.
Don't put it before you started even rolling the credits. This should have been a stick around for a surprise, not a this is how we're gonna.
Yeah, but they also didn't want it to be a stick around for the surprise. They didn't need to do that. Once they started doing that in the DCEU movies, it was. You don't need it.
It's infuriating. Yeah.
You know, like
speaking
Marvel
of places to trim. Yeah. That scene alone.
Marvel didn't invent the mid credit or the end credit scene. They've kind of pioneered it where you have to stay now, and now people are disappointed if nothing happens at the end. And it's like,
what's this? Just a website?
What
spoilers for the
you don't?
Is that what the
it's a
thing?
website.
It's a website.
It's a website, and the credit for Paul Dano singing Ave Maria. All of that said, I think, to your point again, like, they didn't need to get rid of anything other than that scene. They just needed to kind of just fine-tune it. Like, I feel like the first 2 acts were very fine-tuned, very precise. It's very clear the thorough line he's going on. It's very, very calculated.
Yeah.
And then and it's just very precise, very.
Yeah.
And then the last little bit, it's like it's just loose, and it just didn't. It's not that it didn't fit, and I didn't mind it going full Batman because it was still grounded. It wasn't something goofy like the bomb through Batman through Gotham, or the water supply. Like none of that goofy shit.
Which one had the car go up a wall?
Batman Forever.
That was it. Yeah.
Yeah, and
it wasn't
like
that goofy
the
shit.
box and like all that.
Yeah.
It wasn't goofy. It was still relatively in the realm of the gritty realism that he was going for. But I just feel like he could have just fine-tuned it a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like there was just a couple of cogs he could have just like
it was a bit messy the way they did
it was just messy. Like it could have been the exact same length. You just need if it was just a little more on the same level as what came before it, I think it would have been fine. Even it going full action instead of the neo-noir, like even like just kind of just
just tweaking it,
tweaking it slightly,
just sharpening it up in certain parts, and it would have been perfect instead of flawed.
Yeah, and
which is still fair. It's nothing's gonna be. The Dark Knight's not even perfect.
Yeah, no. It's hard to find a movie that is completely perfect, but yeah, I agree with you. Tightening it up, maybe trimming some things out that didn't need to be there. I thought, especially once we got to the 3 hours, we were still doing like fucking exposition dumps, and I'm just like, guy, like, we can find another way to do this that isn't like this guy is telling us stuff for the next 3.5 minutes. Like, we could have figured this out. We could have pieced it together in a different way that wasn't so abrupt, and I'm like, we're already in the third act. How much more information can you give me at this point?
And like just like the like there's just like a precise moment where you're like, this would have been a perfect ending.
Yeah.
And then it keeps going, and you're like, why is it still going? You don't need to.
And
You're
that leads to one of my other criticisms, where they were blatantly trying to set off all of the spin-off shit. Like, you could tell that they were like, oh, they're leading this for breadcrumbs because that's what we're going to spin off to in this series. Oh, there's another spin-off series kind of thing, right? Like, they were setting up the universe so that they could spin off for their fucking detective show, their Arkham show, and
they already got rid of the detective show.
Yeah, they just merged, which I thought was a great fucking idea, to merge the detective show with the Arkham show that they were going to do.
I didn't think it was egregious, though. I think they did it well enough. It wasn't like a Marvel movie where here's this character, he's coming back.
Yeah, honestly, like the only show that I knew about going into it was the Penguin spinoff. So whatever, and I didn't think that was even egregious. It was just like, all right, we're getting to know him as a character, cool. But I didn't know about any of the other ones, and like to me, it wasn't all that obvious to me. Like I was watching and I didn't notice anything specific. It was like, wink, wink. Like it was. I guess it's there now that you've mentioned it. Now that I can be like, oh, okay, I can see why that would be.
Yeah.
But like without knowing that going in, I didn't think it was like egregious to the point of like, oh, I need to watch other things now.
Oh yeah, no, I don't think it. I think it was done well enough where you can see the pieces if you're looking for them, but if you're not looking for them, it's fine. It's not like when they went back to Avengers and Loki gets away and you're like, is that where the Loki show starts?
Finger guns, everybody.
This is the point where you finger guns.
Yeah.
Insert finger guns here. But it had it's not perfect. It's long. Yeah. I can still say it's long. I didn't feel the length, but it's long. But I thought it was terrific. I loved it. I loved this movie.
Gorgeous.
Oh,
this movie is gorgeous to look at.
Oh,
everyone in it also is beautiful.
Oh yeah. The gunshots is what's lighting the screen. That's incredible.
Brilliant. All of it was brilliant. The fight choreography was good. It wasn't cut to shit like
no, they let him go.
Movie.
They let him go.
Great.
It was just like it was wider shots, longer takes.
It was sponsored by the color red.
That too.
Completely sponsored by the color red, but like I could have paused that movie at any point and been like, you know what, I'm gonna print that out and put that up on my wall. Like it's stunning to look at, even though it is dark. It's not really all that dark.
It's pretty
it takes
fucking bleak.
Place at night.
Yeah.
It takes place at night, but I'm like, in terms of like, I wasn't like struggling to see things. It wasn't
so
dark
that
like you
couldn't
tell
you
what
could
was happening.
see what was happening the whole time. It was shot by a proper director of photography.
Yeah.
It looked like a comic book movie. Like it looked like the pages of the comic book were lifted and they were
for some of those like iconic moments.
Yeah, for some of those iconic moments, right? Like it didn't look like one of those Marvel movies where it was like it looks like a blockbuster. This
everything is one color palette.
Exactly, right? This was legit, and that's why I keep referring to Watchmen, right? Because a lot of them had a lot of similarities between the two, for sure.
Yeah.
But he did his own thing. It wasn't like Watchmen where it was like
he did. He
read the graphic novel.
Exactly.
Yeah, it wasn't. He wasn't using the graphic novel.
He looked at the comic and he was like, "Okay, cool," and he shot his version of it.
Yes.
So do you think we're getting the Matt Reeves extended cut?
Yeah.
Zack Snyder way, man. You got to have an extended cut. 4.5 hours long.
Jesus. There's one other thing I wanted to mention, just because we talked about sound design, we talked about everything.
Sure.
Just like the recurring motif of his walking in with the boots.
Oh yeah.
Where they keep going back to him walking with the boots, and you just hear the sound of the boots, or you hear all you're hearing is the boots, or all you're seeing is the boots.
Combat boots. Yeah.
And I thought that was that's so
honestly
great. It's so great because they never just like it's like he swoops in, and you're like, okay, that's Batman, but it's like the boots.
What an excellent costume in general. Like his entire bat suit, incredible.
Oh yeah, and
From
it looks it's
practical
it's not-
combat
yeah.
boots. We're not dealing with like some like made to fit fucking bat
Synthetic
shoes.
bat
Yeah.
shoes.
Yeah. Or like practical everything. A utility belt that made sense, that carried what I initially called a health potion because it pulled it out and it was green. I understand that it's adrenaline. I get that it's
Well, people are
adrenaline.
calling it venom, but
It's adrenaline.
It's adrenaline.
And that's fine. It was just like, to me, it was just like, oh, Batman took a 1-up mushroom. Like, just got his extra
What
life.
about that goof? What about that fucking like? What is it like?
Oh,
Hawkeye's
yeah,
fucking
yeah,
heroes.
Hardcore, man. Like, everything on his suit was completely practical, including, like, when he took off, like, his chest plate Batman thing. And it was a
batarang,
knife.
Battery. Oh
That
yeah,
was sick.
And he, like, started cutting shit with it. I'm like, wow, that's practical.
that
Way to
is
go.
very
Like,
practical.
Dave has a letter opener that's like that. He could build a bat suit now. Oh,
Sorry about that.
that was magical. I'm gonna make sure I isolate that
So
track for
isolate
the,
that.
for
Yeah,
the extended
isolate that
cut.
track out.
Anyways, sorry.
Um,
Better out than in.
That's
Yeah, what a great like.
better out than in. I used to say. I always say.
Take a spot. Take a.
What a great film. Overall, everything about it is fantastic. I'm very excited to watch it again. I don't know that I'm going to go back to a theater without bringing a butt cushion because she's a long one. And like we were in VIP and like kind of got spoiled with like the seating arrangements there, but it's my knees can't take that length of time sitting in a chair anymore. I gotta flake out on a couch.
Yeah,
so I'm
you-
very excited for
You
it
gotta
when
stretch the old legs.
Yeah, man. When it comes to fucking HBO Max and I get to just flake, ooh, I'm in.
I think this is a heavy recommend from all of us.
100%.
Yeah.
Is there any qualms? Anyone you would say shouldn't see it besides children and
The elderly.
the elderly?
I'm trying to think. I was like, it got it was rated PG-13, right?
It sure is.
I
It is
definitely-
pushing the limits of what
definitely
PG-13
pushing
The
the limits.
PG-13 limits.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, heavy recommendation for me for sure.
I don't think there's anything left to say. That's it. You know, prepare for that length. Go in for it. Love it. Love it as much as we did because I don't think there's any way that you can't love it. It's
Fucking
just
Batman, man. It's
so
the-
good.
It's true. It is.
It's
fucking
so
Batman.
good.
It
It's
is
fucking
fucking
Batman.
So good.
The goddamn Batman.
The goddamn Batman.
He is vengeance, and he is red.
It's true. Tony, you are not vengeance. Calm down.
Only Robert Pattinson can be vengeance.
God damn it.
I just love that she keeps calling him vengeance. Hey, vengeance. Let's go have some fun.
Yeah.
Fucking that was
Like they're using that
brilliant.
now in like
Brilliant.
YouTube ads. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't need to hear that line every 3 minutes.
But
It's
I
fine.
guess it makes sense because he never calls himself Batman.
No, he's
No, he
vengeance.
doesn't.
He's
He's
vengeance.
vengeance.
And when they're like, "Who are you?"
Hey, and
he's vengeance.
Look at the lesson he learns along the way. He doesn't have to be vengeance. The end lesson is, I don't have to be vengeance all the time. I could do some good. There you go, buddy. It took you 2 years to figure it out, but we got there.
Jeez.
Yeah, let's get wrapping this up. We have our last segment, our recurring segment, mainly because Dave is a proficient Blu-ray collector.
and 4K.
Yes, I guess if we're splitting hairs, also 4K Ultra HD collector.
Thank you.
Both blue and black cases for him.
Thank you.
Steel or Criterion
Thank you.
or Arrow or any one of the other
Screen
niche
Factory.
publishers.
Shout Factory.
Shout. Yeah.
Kino
Lorber.
Oh my God. Okay, any one of these companies that we just called out want to sponsor us, we're in. Well,
Oh my
please,
God,
Please, for the
love
love of God.
If Criterion
We've given-
sponsors us, I will dedicate the next 1,153 episodes to watching every Criterion movie ever and reviewing every single one of them. If you pay me,
Are you
I'll
just
do
are
it.
you just talking like DVDs and Blu-rays and 4Ks? Or are you talking about
Oh,
the
no.
laser discs too?
laser discs.
Ooh.
I'll go on eBay and buy a laser disc player
Ooh,
if
I
Criterion will
would love-
send me a laser disc.
I almost bought the Star Wars trilogy on Laserdisc. It was $20, but I'm like, what the fuck am I gonna do with this?
Get a laser disc player. What are you doing? Anyway, so we're into Dave's new blues, Dave's new 4Ks, Dave's new whatever he recently bought because there's always something.
Thank you.
What do you got?
So I just took part in the Criterion flash sale and bought 5 new Criterions.
Jesus.
I hope my wife's not listening.
You know she is.
She
I know
definitely is.
she definitely is. But we will save those for another episode. The
Excellent.
one I'm really excited about right now is the 4K of Juice with Omar
4K
Epps,
of juice.
Omar
Omar
Epps, and
Epps.
Tupac Shakur.
Oh, rest in peace, Tupac Shakur.
I have heard amazing things. I haven't watched it yet, but I saw how good it looks for a movie that's 30 years old. I am very excited for this. It's just a catalog release from Paramount, who has been really ramping up the catalog releases, and you can see that there was effort put into it. It wasn't just thrown on a disc. So I'm very excited to watch that one, and I'm very excited to experience that 4K.
We're watching it together, right?
If you want to come watch Juice,
it's
we're
happening.
going to come watch Juice,
happening.
baby.
I've never seen Juice. I'm in.
All right, we're all in. All in for Tupac.
Yeah, so that'll wrap it up. That's our thoughts on the Batman. You heard some of our best man worst, and Dave's new Blu-ray. Very excited. Dave's new 4K. I apologize.
Thank you for clarifying.
But so that finishes up episode 2. It's in the bag. We've done 2 in a row. Now we have to keep going.
We got to keep going.
Tons more stuff planned. There is never a shortage of movies.
Never.
So we're going to be back. For now, I mean, we had a little hiccups with our first episode, just getting it out there, but now we are on every single platform that exists.
Except Facebook. And TikTok.
I meant for listening to the podcast, all right? Like, you can listen to the podcast anywhere that you choose.
Thank you for clarifying.
You want to listen on Apple, Spotify, Google, Amazon, Stitcher, I don't know, whatever podcast thing
What's
you're
the one
into.
Jay-Z has?
Tidal, we're not on Tidal. They don't do podcasts.
Lame.
Super lame source. But we're everywhere else that you want to listen to us. You can also just head over to our website, fingergunstdj.com. You can click the links right from there or listen directly on our website. Whatever you choose. We don't care.
Just listen.
Just listen.
And offer the feedback. Offer
anything you want to tell us. You'll find us on Twitter. We're also on Instagram. And we are welcome, open to any feedback, suggestions, comments, concerns. If you got concerns, really shove it. I don't care.
Seriously, though, we appreciate love and appreciate all of our fans and
100%.
Listeners.
100%. Yeah.
We cannot do this without you.
And if you
thank
you want to follow us more personally or see sort of what we're watching, all three of us each have a Letterboxd account. Mine, for the sake of ease, is the same as all my other handles. I'm at Jamatuzzi.
I'm at Dave M.A. Baldwin.
And I am at Steelhammer Prod.
There you go. You can find us on there, and you can see what actually we're watching. Maybe you can figure out what our best man worst are before we even tell you. See you in 2 weeks, everyone.
See you in 2 weeks, guys.
Bye.
I am vengeance.
No, you're not.
Stop it.